Woe to you, spirits of the air! By thy sword comes your despair. As I march into your lair, you'll know my name as the Demon Slayer.
Hello everyone, how's it going? I'm Jeremy, the Demon Slayer. I'm back again. It has been almost a year since I have live streamed. Just a lot of different things kind of coming up. Didn't really have the time. Let me double check to make sure my audio. I think I've got everything set, but I want to make sure. Alright, yeah, we're going to go ahead and raise my microphone just a little bit because it doesn't sound like I'm as loud as I probably should be. There we go. That should probably be better. So, yeah, it's been about a year. Just kind of got tied up with working, doing a lot of things that way. So, just didn't have the time. The old setup that I had, if you can tell, if you did watch any of the other ones, or if you do go back and watch any of them now, you'll notice that the setup's just a little bit different than it used to be. Right now, it's a lot simpler than what it used to be. So just kind of going into that. This is a little bit easier setup. It's pretty much set. I shouldn't have to worry about doing a whole lot of actual like rearranging, except for maybe just the camera. Because this is our new set that we built for Game for Change, nonprofit organization, video game that we do. So we should be this should be a lot easier setup for me. Before, I think I mentioned it before, but I'll go ahead and readjust and restate what was the problem I had. So when I first got right into streaming, I'm a retro gamer. I love retro games. And I had an arcade system, the At Games Legends Ultimate, and I can live stream from that. So that was perfect. I was able to do it. The biggest problem I had with it was I wasn't able to do it in the most easiest setup. So if I wanted to just live stream the game, it was simple. I could live stream straight away, straight from the machine. I couldn't hook up a capture card to it. When I tried to put up a camera to it, try to get the screen, it didn't always work very well. So it came down to the point where what I was doing was I was streaming the game onto YouTube on a separate channel, and then when I was doing my live recording, I was then capturing the footage from that video on YouTube that was already being live streamed, and then restreaming it onto my actual stream that had my face camera and microphone and stuff. So I mean, at this point, we're already looking at I think it was like close to about a 7 to 9 second delay in video wise. And of course, for me to be able to hear the audio without it just basically going through the microphone and then really being off synced with the video, I was having to run it through headphones into my ear that was connected through Bluetooth to the arcade. It was just a lot of work. And I mean, so I was getting off work. I would come and have to basically, at the end of the night, try to set all this up. And it was basically almost a 30-minute setup. And I got to the point that it was just so much work that I was getting off work. I was so tired, exhausted. And I was like, I don't feel like doing it. So it just kind of, I had it and then just kind of went away and stuff like that. And I kept saying, I was like, okay, I want to get a new setup. I want a setup that's a lot simpler. And come down the road, we came in through a lot of different things. I kind of found up some options, and I've got started getting working on a new setup that so far I have been kind of playing around with it. Looks like this is going to be fairly simple. Basically, all I have to do is set up the camera. And I mean, I could probably leave the camera there. It's not in that much of a way, but that would be the only thing I have to really do. So this looks to be, moving forward, probably to be a better option, a better way of doing it. So that kind of goes into that format. So I think getting all that out the way, what this is going to be, this stream, is just going to be kind of taking it all back and what the future for the stream is. What is my plan? What is the goal of me doing the videos moving forward? I didn't really have, this is kind of a test stream in a sense of making sure I'm still working on the lighting, still working on audio, the whole entire visual effects wise of it. Just making sure, but I just wanted to kind of get a thing put out there, start talking to people about what the plan is going forward. So in doing so, I wanted to play a game. I didn't want to just be talking. I was going to play a game. But I'm not going to do any of what I'm going to be doing in the future for this. It's just going to be a kind of a game that's being played. So I kind of picked a simple game. Let's kind of go ahead and get it started. We're playing the Ninja Turtles arcade game. Of course, I am Donatello. That's who I am. That's my turtle. Got him right there. Got my bandana right there. I am Donatello. Okay, so kind of going into this format. Let me get one brief second, and I will get right back into this. I guess I probably should have waited. Okay, now I got that shared. I forgot. I wanted to share that to Facebook. All right, so just kind of going into the format of kind of what their setup is. If you could see right over here, I have the coin counter. So when I'm doing like arcade games and stuff like that, it just kind of get an idea because I grew up into the arcade format and stuff like that. So you get into that format that it's not a constant, continuous play. You would have to constantly keep putting another quarter in there and stuff, either to start a new game or to play again in that format. So that's kind of what I wanted to go with here. Like, so imagine if I was to play this game in the arcade, it's an average of what it might be costing for me to play. So, doing so, we're going to go ahead and put in the first quarter. There's the first quarter. All right. So now let's go ahead and move on. All right. Go ahead and resume this game. Put another quarter in there. There we go. Okay. So kind of going on to the format of what this channel is going to be for. So the channel, my vision and my plan for the channel is to be more for a gaming, retro game playing, but then also like reviews. Now that's not all that I'm going to do on the channel. There's more things I want to have to do with it. And one of the biggest things I want to do is also be talking about the history behind the games. So if any of you have any clue of the Game for Change that we do on Facebook that I'm a part of, one of our segments that I'm in charge of is called Expert Analysis. So basically what it is it's a look at what the game's history, when it came out, the development behind the game in that format. So, kind of wanting to go into that. Let me turn down the game audio. So that's kind of what I'm wanting to do here as well. I'm wanting to do, man, I thought this was going to be an easy game to be doing the playthrough with. That I could kind of keep it in the background and stuff like that, but apparently not. So I was talking about the history of the games, and stuff. But then also there's other different things I want to be doing. I have a collection. I want to be kind of talking about parts of the collection and what they mean to me, and of course history behind certain objects that I have. But then also even moving forward with that, we are I'm wanting to do like movie reviews. And I've already talked. I've got a good friend who will be coming in, Game for Change alumni, as well. We'll be talking about like comic book movies and video game movies, things that we enjoy, and kind of starting to talk with that about what we thought of the movies. And our opinions on it. So kind of go into that format. I want to be talking about. But it's not even going to be just those movies, comic books and stuff like that. I'm also having the idea of wanting to do older movies as well. Movies I grew up with, movies that mean something to me, that bring back memories. So I've also got ideas on wanting to do something like that, of bringing back some of those old movies. Maybe movies people have never even heard of, or things, and kind of talk about those as well. Because kind of in a sense of everything that I'm wanting to do, basically started with movies for me. So when I was younger, my grandparents were very much into movies. In a sense, I guess you could almost call them cinephiles. They they loved movies. I grew up with watching all sorts of different movies. Very much of everything from silent films of the 20s to 90s action flicks. So in that format, I've got different things that I learned throughout that time of watching all that with them. I started to really learn the actual importance of the movies. And it's not just what you see on the screen, but a lot of the things that go on behind the screen, behind the camera, that you never even see. I got really big into watching and reading videos and articles and newspaper wise and books that of how the movies were made, of the things that they had that you didn't really see. I mean, it's almost like a magician's act of you see the part that they want you to see, which is the finished product, the finished movie. But I had a fascination for everything else that kind of got me into wanting to create movies. And later on, I became more of a playwright and prop building and things in that format. I learned a lot of that from the movies that I grew up watching, because you learn the art style of directors and cinematographers, that they use different things and different methods to basically tell a story. And that's what I enjoyed. There's many different routes that you can take to doing a film. So it was that kind of format that I enjoyed, of watching how people did it differently. And so it kind of became into that part that everything has a story to tell. No matter how small, how big, everything has a story. And so, as a chef that I am, as a career-wise, one of my sayings is, pause that right quick, right there. A chef tells the best tasting stories. That's something I live by, something I wanted to always create, because I'm an artist in that format. I'm an artist as a chef. That the food that I create, I want it to be an experience for the people who eat it. That it's more than just something that they put in their mouth, just something more than they eat because they have to eat. I want it to be something different, a story that they could tell to their friends, their family, in that format. So it was because of all these different things, the aspect of learning the history behind items and things really stuck with me. It started moving from not just the movies, but into other areas of my life, especially music, and then also comes down to the video games. So, for video game wise, I grew up playing video games. My dad loved video games, and even my grandfather loved video games. So it came down to the fact of when I grew up playing, my first computer we had was a TI-99 4A. Pretty much along the lines of like a Commodore 64. I enjoyed the games in that format. Grew up playing all the Atari games on the TI. And then I grew from there. We also had the Nintendo Entertainment System. My grandparents had a Super Nintendo, which one of my favorite games is Super Mario World, which has a very special meaning to me because that was a game that I grew up, and I mean many, many years of playing with my grandfather. We played that game all the time. So that has a very special part of my heart for that video game. And then coming down to even more the NES games and Sega games. It was something different about these games that I enjoyed. And that was the format of, it's more of a simplistic style. It's setting onto the story as much as it is for the gameplay. There is a lot of games, especially I feel like in a lot of modern games, that it just because it has great graphics, everything else lacks. And that's one of my biggest things I don't like about a lot of modern games, is I find that the story and the whole entire element of what I think the game should be, basically a story that you tell. It's a story that changes your the way that you look at things. It's just kind of missing in a lot of new games. So that's one of the reasons why I love the retro games. They're very simple games to pick up and play. You don't have to have a full tutorial of how to play the game. You can pick up a controller and start playing. But so kind of going in that format of I started to learn the history of the video games, about how they were created, how they were made, and it just started to kind of give me a better appreciation for what the game was. I mean, these were games that I enjoyed anyway, but I feel like when you have and you know the history behind something, it gives you a better appreciation for it. It may you connect with it a lot better. So one of my biggest parts with this channel is I'm hoping to be able to try to relay that as well. Being able to share the history behind games, behind movies, behind parts of my collection. Just to kind of get people an idea of what it is. That these things are more, that a video game is more than just a video game. That a movie is more than just a movie. They're not just things that you pass by. I mean, you have to think about all the people that put their time, their hard work, years of learning and stuff into this. You have to take into consideration all that. And I don't think it should be something that should be just passed up. I really think the history should be remembered. People should remember how much these things are. And that even goes for even the worst games and the worst movies. I mean, there's history. Yeah, there might be a good reason why certain games or things like that was maybe bad. But everything has a story to tell. And I think that's one of the biggest things to try to convey to people. So, as I've already kind of mentioned a couple times, I do have a collection here at the my place. Wow, I am not doing good. And it is a massive collection. Some might even say museum worthy. I mean, I have a very large, pretty much my entire place, no matter where you go, there's a collection. And I have a massive collection, pretty much broken down into 6 subcategories of what of 6 collections basically. So they go from like sports. I'm a hockey fan, a baseball fan. I do have football as well. Hockey is by far my favorite. But I have a pretty large sports collection. I also have a Hot Wheel and diecast car collection that I grew up enjoying. I loved cars, and for me, it was the Hot Wheels and diecast wise was a way for me to have the cars that I might have never been able to have. So I have that. I have a comic book collection and stuff. I enjoy comics. I have a music memorabilia and like vinyls. I love vinyls. I've enjoyed vinyls since I was a child. Just something. Of course, I love physical media more than anything. But then I also enjoy the idea of a vinyl. I love the cracking and the popping that you have on a vinyl. It just gives character. It gives meaning behind the music. It's not something that, and one of my biggest things, and of course I've done it before. I have a recording studio here of recording music on a computer, basically, and pretty much you don't have anything physical that you can hold on to. And I don't really enjoy that much. I enjoy to be able to hold the artwork. I love the inner sleeves that they used to have for vinyls, even CDs. Being able to read about the band, maybe even a little bit of history on why they created it. So in that format, I loved that. And then of course my final collection. I have forgot I have a Star Wars collection as well, which was one that I started as a child. That was my first collection. And then finally comes down into my one that you can kind of see right here behind me, which is the 80s and retro video game collection. So, for my collection, it pretty much started with my grandfather. He was the reason why I got into collecting. So he told me to when I was young, when I was a child, to make sure that I keep good care of my toys and my items, because in the future I never know how much those are going to be worth. And so, with that format, it might be something that he was saying was just as a throwaway line of, so I didn't break my toys, so he didn't have to buy me any more. But it came down to it that it really stuck with me. Because my grandfather loved Star Wars. He loved Star Wars. He loved the story behind Star Wars, the ideals and stuff like that in Star Wars. It was for him, it was a masterpiece. So he loved that, and I'm growing up. My father also enjoyed it, and he had Star Wars toys and stuff like that. But he didn't have any of that anymore. He lost it all. He got rid of it or whatever. And I remember him saying that he wished he would have never got rid of it. That he sees things that he wish he still had. He's only got like a couple items from that anymore that he had. So it was in that format that I kind of learned that I took it to heart for when he told me that I needed to keep it. So I pretty much put a price that I took very well value, and like it was almost like a prized possession that I owned of all my toys. I got to the point that I took all my Star Wars action figures, which was my first collection. I took it and bought a case for them. I bought like little Ziploc bags that I could put all of them in there and all their items in. I like labeled them. Pretty much I was starting my first collection. And now, yeah, I still played with them. And I would bring them out of the I'd bring them out of the bag and stuff, and I'd play with them and stuff. But they went right back in the bag after I was done. And then it got to the point that I bought some shelving. And I was starting to put some of my toys and stuff up there on shelves to basically show off when people came around. I was wanting to I had something that I valued, and I wanted to show it off for everyone else to see. And that's pretty much where that came about. And I'm still basically kind of doing that. And that idea has never really shook me. Every time I've gotten something, I valued it. I was like, this is something I own. It's not something that I saw. It's not something that one of my friends had. It's something I have. So I took that into consideration with everything. Pretty much all my toys took kind of care of it. I still have a lot of the toys that I grew up with. I have a lot of my Hot Wheel cars are from like 1970s and stuff, early 1980s. Still in really good condition. So for me, it's having almost, in a sense, this museum style that I have my place set up in. That you can walk through, that no matter where you go, you're pretty much going to walk by something that's a collection. And of course, I don't have it set up in a very bad way of like hoarding or anything like that. I try to keep really good care of it. I try to make sure everything's in a very organized way that you can find it, not only for me, but that if anyone was to look at it, they could find it. Sorry. And so for me, basically daily when I see it, when I see my collection daily, I look at it and it brings back memories of things that I've had in the past, of my childhood, of memories of the history and stuff that I've learned behind some of these. I mean, one of my favorite games is Tetris, and I love the history behind it. And when I read the history, I grew up hearing that history and stuff like that. But going back and just really hearing it, it makes me love the game even more. It's a very simple game, but it broke so many grounds. So I love that, and the history of it just brings me, and I'm like, wow, it's a lot. So that's kind of what I'm wanting to do, is I'm wanting to be able to share with people the history behind items, objects, movies, video games, anything pretty much, to get people to a valued idea about what it is, so they could basically appreciate it more. Because I mean, if no one knows the history, it's very soon to be forgotten. So that's kind of my format of what I'm wanting this channel to be for. Just to be able to learn the history of items, to be able to talk about it. So like I said, that's what I'm wanting the channels for. Now, I've also got to say this. I don't know how often I will be posting videos. I work at least 80 hours a week. I don't really have a whole lot of time. But that's going to be my format of what I'm doing. And I'm hoping to be able, that's one reason why I'm doing live streams for these instead of actual like YouTube style videos, is because I don't have the time to be doing the editing and stuff like that. You get what you get. I mean, wow, that was a very short quarter. But that being said, because that I am doing a live stream, I'm not wanting these to be as, I don't want them to be too long. I still want them to be very short in a sense that you could watch it and stuff. Even if you missed the live stream itself, you can rewatch it to learn the history. I don't want it to be just like a game, like gameplay, game streaming in that format. But I'm going to try to hopefully keep the time for it fairly short. I'm looking at probably about an hour or so for videos. Though that, I mean, that could change in the future. I don't know. Either it goes longer or it goes shorter. Pretty much as long, whatever it takes to get the point across. I mean, I enjoy sharing this information. I hope someone out there finds this information to be useful for them. I hope it does give them the appreciation for what these forms of medium that is everywhere now. I mean, you go back and you look at how many movies, how many video games that we have, and not even just in general, but just this year. This year, last year, and 1 year, how much can come out? And I feel like it gets oversaturated. A lot of people lose fact. It's like, oh, it's just another movie. Comic books. Oh, it's just another superhero movie. Video games. Oh, it's just another video game movie. But even in general, just movies and format. I mean, there's a story to be told of the history behind it. I would gladly like to know, even if you're not watching the video live, you can comment afterwards. Like I said, it's not live just to be able to talk to people during this time. Oh, well, guess I'm going to have to put another quarter in. But I want people to be able to talk to me, either recommend games, recommend movies, things they want to see. I mean, the reason for these videos is not for anyone other than myself. As I said, I pretty much have almost a museum here. I guess I gotta find out a name to call this museum. But I just want to be able to relay the information of the things that I have, show off, let people see what it is. Wow, I might eventually get past this guy. Stop. Wow, this is a... Of course, I've got like a notes listed here. I don't even know how many quarters I've gone through. Alright, he's almost down. Wow. Man. That was difficult. I think this is the last level. Oh. Stop! Stop! Oh. Technically, I probably shouldn't even count that one, given the fact that... Oh my gosh! What is going on? Alright, I don't know what's going on with my controller. Alright, hold on. I don't know if I... And if anyone wants to know, I'm running RetroArch. Alright. For some reason, my jump button's not working. Yeah, but if there's anything that you wanna, you would like to see for this channel, things I think you think I should probably do, things I should cover, let me know. I mean, I'm trying to. Oh my gosh. So now I'm just trying to see if I can beat this game. I think this is the last level, so I want to try to. Oh my. 45 quarters spent already. So I'm at 40, 41.25. 41.50. $41.50. Sorry. 11.50. 11.50 is what I've already put in this game. Oh, I was gonna get the pizza. And of course, I don't have a jump button anymore, so. Well, I guess while we're here, I'm just kind of talking, just trying to finish up the game. What is your what's your favorite Ninja Turtle game? See, I grew up with the Ninja Turtles on the Nintendo. And I loved that game. Could never beat that game. That game was difficult. But I loved it. I loved the aspect of you had all the turtles at your expense. And you can constantly interchange between them. And of course, I loved Donatello. Donatello was the best one in that game. His bow staff could reach impossible places. You could stay away from everyone, attack people on the floor below. So I loved that, and I loved being able to constantly change between Michelangelo to Donatello to Raphael. Nope. What? Alright. Alright, hold on. One quick second. Great. Alright, I'm having a lot of problems going on. Wow, I don't know what happened. Gaslight. No, don't think so. That's not what I wanted. Well, looks like it just crashed me out of the game. Well, alright, I guess that's the end of the game. So, I guess we're going to be kind of ending off here. So I feel like that's pretty much what I just wanted to let you know. My plan is to be doing movie and video game reviews hopefully very soon. Matt will be joining me to doing movie reviews. Guaranteed, we will be at least starting with Doctor Strange 2, if not sooner. He is a massive Sonic fan. I do enjoy Sonic. This is actually part of his collection that I set up for him over here with all the Sonic wise. So there's a good possibility we might have that be the first one that we kind of dive into, and hopefully that will be coming up very soon, maybe this week, next week. I don't really know. All I can say is you can subscribe to the channel, and that way you'll know. My plan is to be hopefully to be able to get into a routine. Tuesday afternoons or Sundays is probably going to be the most ideal time that I start. So yeah, but I want to give out history. I want people to know the history behind these things that we just kind of take for granted. So, that being said, I am the Demon Slayer, and thank you.